G'day cheeky dogs, my name's Margie and I'm an Australian currently living in America. And today we are going to be talking all about the new Bluey album Dance Mode. I'm going to share with you guys my top 3 favorite songs, and I'd like you to share with me as well what yours are down below in the comment section. I'm also going to talk about the Easter eggs.
What?
Yes, Easter eggs in our music album as well, and some of the really cool background information behind creating the album. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you about the story of the album and the actual storyline of the album, because yeah, there's an actual behind story.
There's highly sensitive information back here.
How each song links to each other, side A versus side B, and I think that is just so fascinating. So I'm going to tell you guys all about it. Of course, if you're new here, hi, I love to do Bluey breakdowns of all the episodes, Easter eggs, and theories. And if you love all that kind of stuff, don't forget then to hit that like button down below, as well as that subscribe button and the bell for notifications, so you know whenever I release any other Bluey content. With that being said, let's go into my top 3 songs from this one. And by far and away, I would say they'd have to be Army, Cat Squad, and Rain Boldly in the Pretend.
Rain washes in and the boats start to race.
Army for me just evoked so many feelings straight away, and I was actually really surprised by how emotional it made me feel compared to a lot of the other songs.
Well, I think you should go and play with that red kelpie down there.
And that's when I met Rusty.
So for that reason and that like emotional spike, it has to be sort of like my number 1, I think. Cat Squad is definitely my number 2. It is my son and daughter's favorite song on this album. It's the one they want to hear over and over again. And I think they just got that perfect like Paw Patrol, Power Rangers style vibe for this song. And I just absolutely adored it. And then of course, Rain Boldly in the Pretend was one of the 3 singles that they released before the album came out. And we of course found out that like, you know, this was initially what the song was going to be for Rain, but they went with the instrumental version. But this song is just beautiful, and it's the first one to have an actual live video clip to go with it. So for those reasons, that's why I loved those 3. But let me know, cheeky dogs, down below, what were your 3 favorite songs from this album? I know it's super hard to pick. All right, so let's talk about the Easter eggs in the album. And I think we have to start off with the album cover. And for those of you who didn't pick up on it, the album cover for Dance Mode actually matches the album cover for the first Bluey album, to the point where it's one scene. It is one full scene. You can see Bluey on the front steps and Bingo on the porch. It actually perfectly links up. There's no gaps between it. And of course, then on the behind of the first Bluey album, you see the whole house, and it's all based on sunset. So I think this is really beautiful, showing that the girls love to listen to music, even together, and just enjoying that Queensland sunset. Now, some interesting behind the scenes stuff for this, I think we're gonna have to talk about Joe Brumm first. The first thing a lot of us learned from a lot of the interviews that Geoff Bush has done is that Joe Brumm is actually the voice of Chattermax, which I had no idea that he was. So I thought that was really cool to learn. However, he is not the voice in the album. Instead, Geoff Bush, who does all the music for Bluey, he had to recreate the Chattermax voice, and I'll put it in here. To sort of match with everything. And I thought it was so good. Something else interesting though about Joe is that he also plays the drums, and he is the one playing the drums in the song Copycat. Now the next song I want to talk about is the Gnome Song. So Megan Washington, who is the voice of Calypso, initially had like those first few lines in the episode Calypso. She made it up on the spot. Apparently whilst also holding her newborn baby, she was singing this song on the spot. But of course the full lyrics for this were actually written by the music team instead. And something really cool is if you listen to the lyrics properly, they actually describe a gnome's adventure through the seasons. So it starts off as summer, goes to autumn, then winter, and then the final verse is spring, which is the original verse that we heard Calypso sing. And interestingly, this idea of like going through the seasons was inspired by an air conditioning ad, apparently, that Geoff Bush had seen about how an aircon can be used through different seasons. So that was such a weird inspiration for this, but they did also apparently talk to Joe Brumm as well about what kind of lyrics would be in a song like this, because of course he has a lot of experience with the gnomes and Steiner schools. So I think it was such a cool collaboration on what we ended up getting for the Gnome Song. Now I do want to talk of course about Cat Squad. Apparently it's one of Geoff Bush's favorite songs from this album. Cat Squad! We are also going to be getting a clip of Cat Squad, so if that comes out by the time this video comes out, I'll put it in here. But something really cool is that when we hear the yelling Cat Squad, that's all the people who worked on this album yelling Cat Squad together, and it was just all spliced to put it all in one. So that's really cool. The next song I'm going to talk about is Rain, Boldly in the Pretend. Apparently it took 2 months to actually record this. They thought it was going to be super fast, but they ended up having to just spend a lot of time recording it, mixing all the lyrics and everything together. And of course, in the video clip itself, we did get a little Easter egg of Uncle Stripe, aka Dan Brum, who is the sound designer in Bluey and the voice of Uncle Stripe. He jumps in randomly at one point playing, I think it's the bass guitar. I'm so sorry if I'm wrong, but he plays a guitar. And apparently that was never like in the original part. It's just something that they added in at the very end. Now, a big complaint of this album is that there's no sleepy time in it. And Sleepy Time, of course, the music in it isn't an original. It is classical music, which of course you need the rights for. But apparently, Geoff Bush said on the Gotta Be Done podcast that he has some plans with the Sleepy Time music, but that's all he could say. So who knows? Maybe in the future we will get a Sleepy Time music album. Now that we've gone through some of the interesting stuff behind some of the songs, let's talk about the storyline for the album. Now, when you look at the vinyl, it can seem almost kind of obvious with the side A versus side B. Side A is all the dance tracks, whereas side B is more the reminiscent type tracks. And Sticky Gecko is the longest song on the album at 4 minutes and 14 seconds, and it is the transition song from side A to side B. And that's for a reason. It sort of has that like high energy from the dance stuff, but then it calms down towards the end. But not only is it the transition song, it does fit into the storyline as well. So we kind of have 4 parts to the story. The first part of the story is, of course, waking up and just introducing themselves with the Bluey theme song as the dance remix, and followed by all of the dance music. We have EDM. We have boogie woogie jazz music. We have kids dance music. All of those massive dance tracks are all right at the very start. And then that brings us into sort of the second story. After all that epic dancing, we need to eat food. We are hungry, we need an omelette. And that's where, of course, the song Omelette comes in. So you're eating your food, eating your breakfast, coming down from all that kind of dance mode. Now, of course, once we've eaten breakfast, we need to get to school. We need to get out the door, and that's where Sticky Gecko comes in. And of course, for any parent ever trying to get children out the door, you know that it just takes forever. It is such an effort, whether it's for school or anything. So that's where Sticky Gecko comes in. It's them trying to get the girls out the door, get them to school, but of course it takes forever, which is why that song also takes forever. This then leads into our third story. So the girls have finally gone out the door and they're going to school, and that's where they see Calypso, and we have the introduction to school and Calypso with her song, the Gnome Song.
Brother Wind blows his boat, the gnome has far to go.
And then this, of course, then beautifully transitions into Army. It's Calypso introducing Rusty and Jack.
Oh, you must be my new student.
I'm Jack.
And them then going on their Army adventure together with the song Army. Now, who else was in the Army in Bluey? None other than Granddad himself. So that, of course, is the perfect transition of looking at the kids in the Army into actually Granddad and his time in the Army and how he plays with the girls with that. This then leads us into the reminiscing part. So, of course, we start off with It Was Yesterday, with Granddad then reminiscing about how when Chili was a child. And then this leading into Chili also reminiscing about when she was a child with the episode Rain. And Rainbow at the end. And then, of course, completing it all with Rain, Boldly in the Pretend, with the actual lyrics about, you know, Jazz Darcy reminiscing about her life in Queensland when she was a kid.
I still remember the taste.
So overall, Geoff even stated in his podcast interview with Gotta Be Done that the idea was, we miss what happened in the past so much that sometimes you can miss what's happening right now in the present. And that's kind of the theme of this album, to enjoy both the present as well as enjoying reminiscing about the past. So did you cheeky dogs pick up on that actual full theme of the storyline for this album? Let me know in that comment section down below, as well as, again, your top 3 songs from this album. Also, while you're there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that bell for notifications so you know when any other new Bluey videos come out. But until then, I have picked you cheeky dogs out a few other videos that maybe you would like to watch, and I will see you all in another video. Mwah! Bye!